Now, in terms of what we're going to do on the show today, we will do some film after we get to the lead topic, which is Darren Mougey did an interview with the Jets in-house media team. And there's some interesting quotes I want to go through and kind of discuss what this means for the immediate and the long-term future of the New York Jets. I'll read you an excerpt from the full story, which is on the Jets official website. Quote, "I feel more confident today than ever moving forward with what we have going. I've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. We've got a clear vision. AG and I, we talk daily on this roster and the vision and this division. And with the assets we have moving forward, the draft capital, the cap space, I know we're going to continue to build and add good players to the team that are going to help us win." So he references him and AG being on the same page, having a year together to kind of get a familiarity with what they want to be, the type of team they are, the type of team they're going to be. Are you buying into the symmetry here between Mougey and Glenn going into year two?
Yeah, I think there's legit symmetry. It's just, is AG here to see out the entire length of the plan? But yeah, they've been extending some of their homegrown guys, some of their young guys, right? Tippmann and Brees, and signing some good vets this year. Like you said, the team is super young, and we talked about it when they were signed. Minka and Demario Davis were huge additions, just not only as football players, but also to the meeting rooms, to the practice field, on the field, trying to sort some stuff out. They were a mess last year in terms of their communication, and Minka's a big communicator, and so is Demario Davis. So I like that they're extending the young guys. They're doing it early. You know, Garrett Wilson, Joe Tippmann, even Brees. You know, we probably made out a little bit because he was signed before A-Chain and is it Gibbs? I believe has to still be signed. Maybe he was signed. I think Gibbs maybe still has to be signed. So they're making smart moves, bringing in some vets, 1-year contracts to the vets. Plenty of cap space, about $100-ish million next year or even more. Plenty of draft capital. It's just, is AG going to be here to see out the entire plan? It feels like Mougey really may be at this point. I would probably say it's greater than not that he would be back next year, just assuming that this year doesn't completely blow up with all the players he signed and they kind of meet their realistic expectations. But we'll see about AG. It's a lot on it's a lot on AG. The defense, the defense should be at least near average or somewhere near there. And then obviously we know the head of the snake is really, Geno and Frank Reich on offense. Because if they suck, I know we have a ton of weapons there, but if he can't call a modern offense and Geno Smith can't deliver the ball to the targets, doesn't really matter the targets we have. So yeah, I like the plan. I like what Mougey's doing, no doubt.
Well, I think it's clear that they are aligned as far as like Darren Mougey's not going into this year being like, I want us to suck because I know I'm here and I want to get a chance to hire my coach. Because a lot of the moves they made personnel wise was to give Aaron Glenn players for his defense that fit what he wants to run. Aaron Glenn's also the same guy who said at the NFL Combine this past year that play calling is his superpower. So, a lot of how we're going to judge Aaron Glenn beyond the win total, which is most important, is how does the defense look? Because you're taking clear ownership over that. And I think we all could agree there's enough talent now on this roster to properly evaluate Aaron Glenn as a head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a thing where they're barren of talent, right? Like, I'm not saying that this should be a Super Bowl team if they had a good coach and good quarterback, but they should at least be minimum competitive, right? Like, yeah, they got some holes on defense. Yeah, there's maybe one or two on offense, but this should be a formidable team. Like, if you put Sean McVay and Matt Stafford on this team, what are our expectations? Like, we're talking about at least a wild card, right? At least that's where I would personally be at with this roster.
I think you're contending. If you had a Hall of Fame head coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback with an maybe not an elite offensive line yet. Let's see them prove it one more year, but a very good offensive line and some talented skill players. Like, would the Jets not be looked at as a contender if they had a Hall of Fame quarterback with a Hall of Fame coach?
Yeah, and obviously, and that's even aggressive too, right? So like maybe to better emphasize my point, it's like, okay, what if we had more of a mid coach, whoever mid coach you want to say? I don't know if you have a mid coach off the top of your mind. Even like, I was gonna say Mike Tomlin, but that's gonna be a whole conversation for a different day. But a mid coach and a mid quarterback, I think you're talking about, my expectations going from 6 wins to probably 9, with this roster. So I don't have to be as drastic as being, okay, Sean McVay and Matt Stafford,
Payton.
but yeah, he's probably even.
He's not a mid coach. Who'd be like a mid coach?
Yeah, I don't even know. I honestly, like, Tomlin might be mid at this point, realistically. And I'm not trying to shit on Tomlin.
How about Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, okay, Mike McCarthy, like Mike McCarthy and I don't know. Aaron Rodgers. I was gonna say Jordan Love was the first one that came to my mind. I think he's a little bit better than mid. I think he's probably near top 10. But if we like Mike McCarthy and Jordan Love, we're probably talking about 9 wins and expecting the playoffs or close to it this year. So it's really about Aaron Glenn, and is play calling truly a superpower? Obviously, the arrow was pointing up with him in Detroit that last year. A ton of injuries, and the defense still produced decently. There's enough talent on this defense. Again, I know there's holes at safety. I know corner one might be a hole right now, but realistically, they have enough talent to be a mid defense if you're a you're a defensive coordinator, worth your weight. So, it's going to be exciting to see exactly what they do. I don't have a ton of faith in it. Realistically, I think we're both at 6 wins, I believe. And I think that's largely based on Aaron Glenn and our lack of confidence in Geno Smith. And I'm not saying he's Justin Fields or anything like that, but I still think he's near a top 10-ish bottom quarterback, maybe better on some days, maybe worse on some days. But it's exciting. It's going to be exciting to at least evaluate the young talent that they have.
I'm just hoping that we at least get a season, right?
Yeah.
I don't think this is a great team by any means, but we didn't even have a season last year. What I mean by that is like the Jet season was basically cooked before September was done. They started 0-7, but I left Tampa with the Jets at 0-3, and then they lose a week later on Monday Night Football to drop to 0-4. I think it was September 28th or September 29th, the date of that game. At 0-3, let's be real, they were cooked. But at 0-4, it was over. Like, don't start 0-4. And the first 4 games, week 1, is incredibly important to at least giving you a chance to then maybe win one of your next 3 and be 2-2 facing the Browns at home in a game the Jets would be favorites in. And you're at least having a season. And, we're not doing mock drafts in late September, early October, which no one wants to do, even though we're all excited about the 3 first-round picks. Let's hope the Colts suck and the Jets could give us a fun season, at least at the beginning. Be fake good for the first month of the year. The bar is so low.
Yeah, like it's I'm not even being dramatic here, but how many seasons have we had the last 10 years by like the end of September, early October? Like, this is probably over. Like, there might be a mathematical chance they can get back in, but after the first 3 or 4 weeks, like, season's over already. So it's disheartening. Last year, I believe I started clipping Mendoza plays like October 10th or whatever it was, like absurdly early. So like 3-4 weeks into the season, already kind of had that feeling that it was over, especially how they lost to the Bills and the Cowboys. Embarrassing. It was embarrassing the first couple of weeks. So don't give me that, I know you're on the same wavelength. It's like, don't give me the tanking crap. The 0-7 start was just as embarrassing in my opinion. It's give us a season, win week 1. You can't start off 0-4. They didn't do us any favors with the NFC North right off the jump, minus maybe, you can argue Packers, no Parsons, maybe that's a favor right there, but still not the most beneficial start of the season. So give us a season, give us some hope, at least 1-3, right? Because then you have Browns, you got Dolphins, Raiders, right? In the next couple of weeks after that. So, what is bye weeks? Is it what week is it?
Week 13.
Oh, it's week 13. Yeah, no, I was thinking the first 8 weeks. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. First 8 weeks can give me at least 3-5, like something like that.
And it really should be 4-4. Like, I don't think we're asking for much. Beat the Titans and then beat the Browns, and you're at home for the Dolphins and the Raiders. You should be 4-4 if you're a decently coached team, which is the big question mark with the Jets.
Yeah. Win week 1. I think we're a better team than them. Steal one of the next 3 games, and then win another 2 of the 3 games that you should at least be competitive in or win, with the Dolphins, who are a bottom 3 to 5 team, Raiders, who are a bottom 3 to 5 team, Browns, who are a bottom 3 to 5 win team. And the worry with the Browns was they have Myles Garrett, the best defensive player in football, and he's not there anymore. So that should be a game where you're favored at home. You're going to be favored versus the Dolphins, I believe, at home, and maybe even versus the Raiders at home. Grab week 1 of 2 of those 3 games, and then steal one against the Packers, Lions, or Bears, and then we legitimately have a season. But at the minimum, you want 3-5. And at that point, after that, it might get a little bit rough with the Chiefs, Bills, and Chargers. You hope you steal one of those. Okay, now we're 4-6, but like at least we're mathematically still in it, and there's still a season. And then we're talking, early November at that point. It's just been over end of September way, way, way too often. I've been doing this since mid 2010, 2015, 2014. Like, it's just been so many years of just non-competitive football right off the jump.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throwing some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. You tell me if this excites you. Here's a quote from Darren Mougey from that same interview. We were one of the youngest teams in the NFL, so we talked about that in the offseason, and we targeted a few guys, and we're able to land those guys and feel really good about the team and where we're at now. Mougey talking about some of the veterans they brought in. I think the leadership on the Jets last year, beyond just the coaching being atrocious, I think the leadership issues were apparent. I like the idea of what they did, bringing in guys like Demario Davis and Minkah Fitzpatrick and all that. Your thoughts on how big of a difference, if it does make a difference, in this Jets team now going forward?
Yeah, it does. Last year, like the only legit leader you had with, on offense was Garrett Wilson. He's been here for a few years, but like Olu's still wet behind the ears. Membu's still wet behind the ears. Tippmann's a little bit wet behind the ears. Obviously Justin Fields not really leading anything. Breece Hall, is he the best leader in the world? Me personally, take offense if you want. I don't think he is. Hopefully after the contract he is, but it was like Garrett Wilson, who was injured, and Harrison Phillips, who's like a run-stuffing nose tackle, So we didn't really have a lot of leadership. You saw that consistently in the secondary with how just poor the communication was between those guys. The amount of blown coverages was ridiculous. It's like, I don't know. We did 18 film reviews or 17 film reviews, right, last year. 14 of them were probably how bad the defense was, right? So probably a little bit less realistically, but yeah, it was dreadful. So having Demario in those rooms and Minkah and even like guys like Anyamata on the defensive line, some more vets on the defensive line outside with Osai and Enoch Bari, some more vets even in the receiving room, right? Like Tim Patrick, another vet. So I like the leadership that they brought in, not deals that really hamstring them long term. Minkah you can get out after 2 years. Demario, I believe you can get out after 1 year relatively scotch-free. So I like the plan to bring in those vet leaders who are still good players, right? Like I don't know why people are so down, or at least some people are so down on Demario Davis and Minkah. Like they weren't both top 10 at their position last year. Now maybe there's a slight fall off, but they're still very good players at their positions and for decent prices, not hamstrung long term. So I definitely like the plan, long-term flexibility, sign the young guys, draft capital, cap space. So if they hit on quarterback and head coach, this roster is definitely trending in the right direction, no doubt.
Hit the like button if you're just joining us. Comments, questions, super chat, cut the line. Again, enter the raffle for the Breece signed football at the end of the show if you want a chance to win that or any of our weekly raffle prizes coming up on Friday this week. The other quote from Mougey here is where he's talking about the draft. He says, quote, "It's definitely a more comfortable feeling going in, knowing you have a whole year with your process. We changed the entire grading scale from our last draft, so we're on a different scale, a different system. I felt much more comfortable visualizing the board this year and kind of knowing how it was going to fall. And I feel really good about where we're at as a whole staff." So they changed their draft process year over year, obviously to be determined whether or not they hit on the players they picked. And let's be real, it's not about the day 3 picks. It'd be nice, but it's really about pick number 2, pick 16, pick 30, and pick 50. 4 picks in the top 50. Those are the players that need to be impactful for Darren Mougey to have done his job.
Yeah, you need at least 3 of those 4 to be a relative hit, right? And we know like when guys are hired, they don't change over the whole staff and the whole process right off the jump, right? It takes a little bit, and I'm sure in year 3 they'll be better than year 2. But yeah, there should be a big jump in like their grading systems and their scales and how they go about it and all that stuff. And you live and you learn. So yeah, I believe him. I definitely believe him with this, but they're building an Aaron Glenn. No, the good thing is some of these guys are scheme versatile. So, I think even if a different coach came in next year with different philosophies on defense, instead of more of the react and attack type stuff, it's just attack and react. I think some of these guys can still fit. So we'll see. Like realistically, I'm a Jets fan. I'm a Jets fan before I'm anything else. I'm hoping the Jets go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl. But obviously, I dive into the film quite a bit, and I'm expecting 6-win season. But I'm not hoping for that, right? Like I think people misconstrue that a little bit, where it's like, oh, you want the Jets to suck. I don't want the Jets to suck. We've had that conversation 1,000 times. It hurts. It kills my numbers. You have staying power at least, where like my numbers go down. Like, oh, I put out a review, 70 views. I'm like, what is this? So yeah, them being good gets the fans excited, helps out both of us just with interaction, obviously monetarily a little bit as well. That's not, you don't have to be smart to recognize that. So it helps out in a multitude of ways. And then just like, you don't have to see videos of kids crying and hoping and wishing they were different fans of different teams, or, go to games, just be disheartened a quarter in. It's been so bad. So yeah, I'm hoping to get their shit together.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.